Welcome to CIH Podcast Bitesize, which is a special in which we aim to cover an important story, but within under 30 minutes. So a challenge for myself and my guest to get the most out of it for you to learn about. So I'm Sarah Davis, Policy Manager at CIH, and I'm really pleased today to be joined by Fuad Mahamed from ACH, who's going to talk to us about the organisation and the work they do to support refugees. So thank you for joining us, Fuad.
Pleasure.
And let's get right into the story. So can you tell us about yourself, Fuad, and your background?
Certainly. I'm really pleased. Thank you so much for inviting me to come to speak with you today. My name is Fuad Mahamed. I've been the CEO, the founder CEO of ACH for the past 17 years. My background is I came to this country a long time ago as a refugee from Somalia about 25 years ago. And when I arrived in the UK, I was really very grateful for the support I have received. But I was also challenged by how some of the mainstream agencies I have dealt with have had, the perceptions they had about refugees and how they have generally interacted with refugees. The concept of ACH have started with me back then. I'm glad to say 10 years after I've arrived in the UK, 2008, I have started ACH from a humble beginning from Bristol, where we started 2 houses. Sarah, it was never my ambition to take to ACH where it is now. I was just passionate to have impact locally, and the kind of impact I wanted to have is actually very similar to what's going on right now in UK, where newly arrived communities, migrants, Black and ethnic minority communities are spoken very negatively. So I wanted to change that perception, share with the world, the good things that we bring to this country, the skills, the food, the language, the music, and etc. So that's my background in summary. Yeah.
So what can you tell us a bit more about ACH? So it's great. I mean, obviously, really coming out of your own experience and trying to change misconceptions. But can you tell us a bit about what ACH has become? So you said you didn't intend it to perhaps go so wide, but how does it operate and what kind of situations do you deal with?
So actually, community housing predominantly works with people as soon as they receive what's known as the refugee status. Many of you have heard of asylum seekers staying in hotels. So anybody can stay in asylum for 6 months to 10 years. But after people are granted a status to stay in the country, they are usually given 28 days to leave from their asylum accommodation. That's when people come to us at their hour of most need, where they are coming into a new world of entitlement to benefits, entitlement to work, entitlement to education, and we really guide them through this maze of new complexities. So we predominantly deliver supported housing to single, but we also work with single, both male and female. But we also work with families, young people across the country. We're based in Bristol, and in West Midlands, Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Solihull. At any one time, we work with about 800 tenancies. And what we really support with newly arrived communities is they've got a lot of barriers into getting into work. So we give them housing, and we also help them with their after they settle in their house, we help them with their language skills. We help them getting to know in the new home city. We, having orientation around where to find GB, where to find schools, and all of that. Once we make sure we have dealt with the basics, we then really make sure we understand where the person wants to go in terms of their integration plan. And this is where we really do unique stuff, making sure people get the right skills to help them get where they want to. And usually integration means, whilst there's health and many other areas that everybody can have challenges with, the key area where we really focus on is making sure people really getting to work, meaningful work, not any work, meaningful work, where they can afford their own house, and they can pay for their life. And I just to conclude on that question, I have to say, Sarah, we're very pleased that typically it takes about 9 months people to go through our journey with us, and people are really keen to get skills, people are really keen to work, people are really keen to contribute, to get on, and not to be on welfare.
Yeah, and obviously they'll often come with lots of skills that they don't want to lose and can really contribute. So that's so it's the whole thing, isn't it? It's a home, it's getting settled, and it's actually contributing to the communities in which they live. That's fantastic. That's really great to know.
Yeah.
And ACH, you yourself have come with that experience. I understand probably a lot of your staff also come with that experience. So it's that, they understand you understand some of the problems and challenges and how to help people, make the most of themselves and their skills and their lives.
Yeah, what makes us in a unique place to help this community, as you rightly said, 50% of our staff have got lived experience. We've got 40 different nationalities. We speak many different languages. And because of that diversity within our staff, diversity isn't just a policy in ACH, it's something we really live and breathe. We can really understand our client group. Yes. It is really important to be able to offer culturally sensitive support. But that's not where it ends. That's where it starts from. As I said, the key thing is really to understand that every person that comes to us, with our staff or a client, are very unique and they've got their own integration journey. And people that come to us have really talent, have got really skills and aspirations. And what we here at ACH want to do is to enable people to achieve their full potential. Just to give you an idea, people who have left, say, Ukraine because there's a war, people who typically come to us, say, for example, Ukraine, 20%, 30% of them have top-notch jobs that they had back home, doctors, lawyers. And even though the remaining 70% of the people who come to us, only 30%, 40% are people we would classify far away from the marketplace. Yeah. So majority of the people are willing to work, have got significant skills that we lack and we need for our society. And people who are currently believing the negative perceptions about refugees, people who are rioting, this is information that they should hear. We've got significant voice, close to 1 million vacancies in our economy right now. And we have people right here at our doorstep who can fill these vacancies, people who can become the nurses that you need, people who can care for your parents, people who can drive around to help you get where you want to get to, people who can become teachers, doctors, what have you. So absolutely. I think the boxing people into a migrant refugee is what is not right, but we should look at people as people who've got talent and who can contribute. And if we can give opportunities, we can really realize and fulfill their promises.
Absolutely. And so I mean, that's touched a bit on what you think are some of the problems that people face with our current immigration system. So what would you change, I think, Fuad, in terms of what do you think is the most important things to change to support people?
I would focus on community cohesion. I would focus on integration. Current policies are very very negative, and focus on reducing the net migration, reducing boats coming into UK, and I up to some extent we really support people who are coming here illegally, and the systems which are encouraging people to be smuggled into here into UK. We don't support that. But when people are here right here in the UK, the focus should be the right investment in helping them get integrated, which is about giving the right skills, giving the right homes. One of the most not understood things about refugees, newly arrived communities, and the wider Black, I think, minority is that there's significant homelessness.
Yes.
And there's a significant hidden homelessness because they stay with their families. They tend to stay with their friends. They will not be classified as homeless. So there's a significant homelessness impact on this community. Similarly, just because there's a language barrier, cultural barrier, they have barriers getting into the marketplace and integrating society. So what also research and data shows, and from 17 years of working with this community, we've learned is with minimum investment, as I said, something in the order of 9 months with the clients that we're working with, people are really moving away from the expensive supported housing and becoming people who are ready to be part of society. So my suggestion is the focus on investment, focus on community cohesion, focus on integration. These things really pay, rather than negative policies which really sideline a very marginalized communities already will not bring the integration we need. Finally, we need communities to be talking to one another. And we need organizations like ACH and housing associations are really in great place to act like bridges between communities, so that people can talk to one another and facilitate what we call inter-community dialogue, so that people can understand, reduce this whole misconception about newly arrived communities, increase understanding between communities. People always come together in terms of sport, in terms of music, and I think we should really encourage bringing these things back. We must invest and take seriously what's currently going on in terms of rioting. I think it started with few determined people, and Sarah, unless we stop, we've seen before few determined people can change the world for the better, but also they can change the world not for the better. And this could really get worse year on year. So housing association is not only the government and local governments, but also can play a significant part in bringing people together and acting as a community anchor organizations within their neighborhoods. And if we start that from the grassroots, I genuinely believe we can make a headway on this challenges we are having in terms of rioting and etc.
Fuad, that's really encouraging, actually. And I suppose, I mean, you said you work in Bristol, you work in the West Midlands, so you work with housing organisations who provide the housing to support their tenants, their residents on this, yeah? So give us an example of how you might want to work with a housing organisation or to support people, the kind of things you do.
So how we work with organizations include giving them understanding of how to work with this community. We've got significant experience that we've developed both through our living experience, but also from our learning experience for 17 years. So we share with in terms of cultural sensitive sport, what that looks like in terms of understanding the different cultures, the different experiences people have, but also beyond and above the culture, understanding the traumatic experience these people have been through. I think it is really critical to deliver a trauma-centered services, a psychologically informed environment, especially driven by or inputted by the experiences of refugees. We also have a lot of experience in understanding what are the barriers that these communities typically have in accessing housing. And when they access housing, how best can we make sure that we hear their views? For example, traditionally, this community do not trust authorities and might not be able to give the associations that they're working with the input into the service design. So how best can you create a co-designed service for this community? It's not typical like any other client group that you'd be working with. So we have a lot of experience in that. And it's not just bringing in a translator. I've seen organizations who just bring in a translator and say, okay, we've spoken to you, we understand what you want. And the study and the work that we've done shows that's not the case. So there's many areas that can be looked at, but the key thing is the communities that you're working with and the people that you work with are very much individuals, and there is no one bullet. There's no one solution fits for all for all the different people that you're working with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think your point there obviously is that to understand and appreciate that people have often had a really traumatic journey, often coming from things that are quite traumatic, but also the experience of trying to come to the UK can be very traumatic. So it's actually, there's a lot of sensitivity needed that you and your colleagues, can really support housing organisations to understand and make it succeed. So that's brilliant. So you bring everything to the table as well as the refugees themselves wanting to bring their skills to the table. So that's brilliant. So what sort of, I suppose, a piece of advice for people listening, maybe they need support, or maybe they want to help refugees, or maybe a challenge to us as a housing sector. What do you think we need to do to help you and your organisation, but most of all to help the refugees we may be in contact with?
In terms of people who are listening, we have a campaign which is called Rethinking Refugee Campaign, where we share actual data about the people that have come to us, how we've supported them, and the impact that we had, the impact that they had in their host community, into the communities that they came to live with. And one of the most amazing things in our campaigns, we share, how people have become successful businesses. Newly arriving communities are highly entrepreneurial. And if you go into Bristol and you walk down Stapleton Road, one of the most famous streets in Stapleton Road, you will see buzzing marketplace. And if you ever come down to Bristol, there's a lot of amazing variety of foodies and culture, which I recommend you go see. Similarly in Birmingham, similarly in many places in London. So we want to nurture that entrepreneurial capacity by offering opportunities. If there's one thing I say to everybody, how best to help this community is to give them skills and opportunities to work, opportunities to learn, opportunities to be part of your chain if you have a business. So people really wants to get on and do those sorts of things. There's a very famous poem from a lady called Watson Shere, and she said, nobody puts their children on a boat unless the sea is safer than the land. Nobody wants to leave their home country and go through all these difficult journeys to come to Europe. Not the majority, because they just want to leave here and be on welfare. People are coming from their home countries because there's a conflict, and the majority of these people who are leaving their home countries have had amazing skills and had amazing life experiences that can be of significant benefit to this country. And it's all about how can we unlock that experiences to our benefit, but also to their benefit, and share these positive stories to the wider community who just hear from the negative and many cases are not true stories about migrants and refugees.
Yeah. Fuad, thank you so much for your time. We've only really been able to scratch the surface, but thank you for sharing with us your story and the great work that ACH is doing. And I'm sure we'll be coming back to you again to talk more about this. But thank you for joining in on the CIH podcast, and we really hope everyone enjoys it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.